Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today if you missed our Zoom meeting. I am thrilled that we had the most students in our Zoom meeting today than we've ever had. I am going to give a shout out to all of those who were able to make it today. Sherilyn, Genesis, Isaac, Caden, Eli, Sullivan, Parker, Sophia, Shayna, Maddie, Adrian, Trinity, Henry, Freddie's, Marcus, Kimberly, Josue, and Angie. I had to write them all down because there were so many. Thank you so much for coming and joining with me. That was super fun. I cannot believe we are on our last chapter of our book. That went by so fast, but I had so much fun doing this book club with all of you. So we are going to start reading chapter 7. I'm going to read the whole chapter because it's not very long. We're going to talk about rescue teams. Our title is To the Rescue. We're going to be talking about teams of people that help rescue those that have been hurt or injured in a natural disaster, and also animals that help as well. We talked first that in an informational book, if you see pictures or photos, it's super important to stop and take a look at those pictures. That will help you give a great visual of what this chapter or what the page is going to be talking about. So as you can see, we have rescuers here with someone that was hurt. They're bringing them to an ambulance. We have a helicopter here because sometimes people need to be brought to a hospital very, very quickly, and a helicopter is a quick way to do that. We have tents here that people sent up to be kind of like hospitals, that they have medicine there. They also have food and clothing because sometimes rescuers are at a place for days and days trying to rescue people. We also have a crane here that digs out, that might be digging out the rubble and things that have collapsed that are too heavy for people to pick up. And we also have some rescue dogs here as well. So here we go. Skilled rescue teams from all over the world rush to help in times of disaster. Many teams are made up of volunteers who give their time and skill to help. Doctors and nurses set up tent hospitals to treat the injured. Planes begin to arrive with blankets, food, water, tents, and medicine. There are even teams that come in to rescue animals. People skilled in finding victims in the ruins of buildings arrive. Engineers bring heavy equipment to remove the rubble. And all over the world, people send money, food, and clothing to the victims. Now we're going to start here with our subheading, Rescuing People. The first challenge the teams face is getting people out of fallen buildings. Rescuers shout through bullhorns to the trapped people. Now those are like megaphones, where you have a handle and something that you put your mouth up against. You pull, there's like a little button that you press and you speak into the speaker and it makes your voice so much louder. And that's important, especially for people that are trapped because it could be harder for them to hear. They tell them to tap on whatever they can reach. As the victims tap, a device called a life detector senses where the noise is coming from. Rescuers then try to reach the victims. I'm going to post a link to a life detector so it can give you a better visual of how rescue teams use these life detectors. A life detector uses sound waves from people that are tapping or making some kind of noise underneath all of the rubble to see where that person's body might be. Another helpful instrument is a search cam. This is a special camera that can take pictures through small holes. The rescue teams drill holes into the chunks of concrete that surround the trapped people. They guide cameras into the holes. The cameras send back images of the people trapped inside. I'm also going to post a link to that. It's almost like there's a little camera on a long pole that they stick into these holes that can actually see what is underneath all of that concrete and the pieces of the building that have fallen. And there's someone that's holding a screen, and that's what the video shows, or the camera shows. And I'm going to be posting a link so you can get a better idea of how they use those search cams. And today, Miss Canderin asked a question to our friends on the Zoom: which one do you think is more important to find victims, the life detector or the search cam? And we had some fabulous answers. There were a lot of friends that said just the search cam because you can actually see underneath, but there were a lot of friends that said both too, which is a great answer. Also, shout out to Adrian. He gave an awesome answer saying that what if the person under the rubble is unconscious? They're not awake and they can't tap. So that search cam would be really important. Nice job, Adrian. Some of the best rescuers aren't people. They're dogs. Dogs have a much greater sense of smell than people's. Rescue dogs are trained to smell victims trapped under buildings or even snow. One avalanche expert said that one dog is worth 20 people in finding an avalanche victim. So one dog is just as good as 20 people. That means their sense of smell is better than 20 people's noses put together. That's crazy. Here we have an awesome photo, and it says a Spanish rescue worker and his dog search for survivors in San Salvador. So I'm also going to be posting a link of a golden retriever dog that has been trained to find victims under snow that have been trapped after an avalanche. And it's really cool to see how the dog uses his or her sense of smell to smell that snow and can sense where a body is under all that snow. Being on a rescue team isn't easy. Aftershocks can shift buildings, trapping rescuers under the rubble. And aftershocks are those tiny earthquakes after the one large one. And what can happen is, after the large earthquake happens that might have collapsed the building, those aftershocks can still move and shift that rubble that's laying there and can maybe even hurt more people. So it's important to get the rescue teams there quickly. There is also the danger of disease and infection from polluted water. Everyone on a rescue team works long hours and gets little sleep. Doctors often treat patients and perform surgery in terrible conditions. But the rescue teams are tireless. Their goal is to save as many people as possible. Natural disasters involve people all over the world. Thousands can be injured. People lose loved ones, homes, jobs, and even their lives. We can help in times of disaster. We can send money or donate clothes. We can think about the people who are suffering. We can remember that we are all part of a huge world, a world of wonder and delight, and a world of natural disasters. So here we have a photo of a rescue team bringing this victim, it looks like, up to a helicopter. And here, these friends made a lemonade stand, and it says money goes to tsunami relief. Now that means all the money is going to go to the people that have been hurt or lost things like homes and belongings in a tsunami. So that is the end of our last chapter. One last thing Miss Canderin would love to share with you is called an index. Now, an index is really important in an informational book. You can find them at the end of an informational book. And if you're looking for a certain word, what you can do is look in the index, and it's in alphabetical order. You can look up the word, and it will tell you what page you can find that word on. For instance, if you're looking for where the book talked about asteroids, you can find it on page 41 or pages 74 and 75. So this is really an interesting and cool tool to use if you're researching a topic and you can't remember exactly what page that it was talking about. So you can use the index. That was so much fun. Thank you to all those who joined me on these days to read our fantastic Tsunamis and Other Natural Disasters book. I hope you learned so much and your brains got so full of information about natural disasters. Now let's talk about our activity. So the first one is, what was the most interesting natural disaster to read about? So I want you to choose. I wrote all the different natural disasters we read about in our book. Tsunamis, volcanoes, earthquakes, landslides and mudslides, or avalanches. And then tell me why it was the most interesting natural disaster to read about. The bonus activity is another Art for Kids hub. I know you guys like them so much, but I found a drawing of a golden retriever, just like the video we watched of the golden retriever who searched for victims in the avalanches that were trapped under the snow. So your bonus activity is to do the Art for Kids hub and draw your golden retriever. Again, thank you so much for joining me and Miss B in our book club. On Friday, we are going to have another book club, but I'm just going to read a different story to you, so hopefully you can join us. And as always, if you have any questions, please let us know. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye.